Stop Being Soft with Everyone, written by Kelvin W. NetHen. Introduction. How many times have you found yourself saying yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you tried to meet someone else's needs even when it meant sacrificing your own? We've all been there, trapped in the cycle of pleasing others, avoiding conflict, and putting ourselves last. But here's the hard truth: if you constantly bend to the will of others, you're not just being kind. Consider it, but that you're being soft. And that weakness is slowly eroding the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one you have with yourself. This book is about reclaiming your self-respect and recognizing that being kind doesn't have to mean being a doormat. It's about understanding that your time, your energy, and your boundaries are valuable, and that protecting them isn't selfish, it's essential. When you lack self-respect, you give others permission to treat you with less respect than you deserve. You may think you're being accommodating, but in reality, you're teaching others that your needs and desires are secondary to theirs. The problem with always being soft, with always putting others first, is that it leaves you feeling drained, unappreciated, and often resentful. Over time, this behavior erodes your sense of self-worth. You begin to believe that your needs aren't as important, that your voice doesn't matter, and that it's easier to keep the peace than to stand up for yourself. But living this way comes at a high cost. It undermines your confidence, it chips away at your happiness, and it prevents you from living authentically. So how can you break free from this pattern? How can you stop being soft and start respecting yourself? It starts with understanding that self-respect is not about being harsh or cruel, it's about setting clear boundaries and enforcing them with consistency and confidence. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. In this book, we'll explore the dynamics of self-respect. And how it influences every aspect of your life, from your relationships and career to your mental and emotional well-being. You'll learn practical strategies to assert yourself in a firm but fair way, and to say no without guilt or fear of rejection. We'll dive into the psychology behind why we often feel compelled to please others, and how you can reprogram your mind to prioritize your own needs without feeling selfish. You'll also discover how self-respect affects the way others see you. When you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you in return. They will value your time, your opinions, and your boundaries. They'll know that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated or taken for granted. And most importantly, you will begin to see yourself differently. You'll feel more confident, more empowered, and more in control of your life. This journey won't always be easy. There will be moments of discomfort as you begin to challenge old habits and assert your new boundaries. But with each step, you'll grow stronger, more resilient, and more in tune with your true self. By the end of this book, you'll have the tools and the mindset needed to stop being soft and start living with the self-respect you deserve. So if you're ready to break free from the cycle of people-pleasing and reclaim your self-worth, then let's begin. It's time to stop being soft and start standing up for yourself. Your journey to self-respect begins now. Imagine you are a tree, bending and swaying with every gust of wind, never standing tall or firm. Sound familiar? You always let yourself be carried away by the whims of others and lose parts of yourself in the process. Let's explore how you can break free from this pattern and stand firm by cultivating a deep sense of self-respect. We'll look at why you might be trapped in this cycle, and how to set boundaries, prioritize your needs, and communicate effectively. Chapter 1. Identify your people-pleasing patterns. We often find ourselves in situations where we sacrifice our self-respect just to please others. Have you been in that situation, when you've gone out of your way to meet others' needs without considering your own? This pattern of people-pleasing can undermine your self-respect, leaving you feeling drained and resentful. Now let's take a closer look at why you might fall into these patterns. The fear of rejection or conflict might be driving your tendency to please others. You may believe that agreeing with others, even when it goes against your values or desires, will keep the peace and maintain relationships. But remember, what's at stake is your self-respect. Start by noticing when you're sacrificing your needs to satisfy others. Is it with certain people, like your boss, your spouse, or your friends? Or in specific situations, such as at work, social gatherings, or family events. Recognize the feelings that accompany these situations. Do you feel anxious, guilty, or resentful? These emotions are key indicators that your self-esteem is being compromised. But don't be hard on yourself, you're not alone in this struggle. Many people deal with the same issue. The important thing is that you've begun the journey toward better self-esteem. By identifying your people-pleasing patterns, you're taking a bold step toward a healthier, more respectful relationship with yourself. And that, my friend, is something to be proud of. Chapter 2, Understanding Self-Esteem Deficits. Now that you've recognized your people-pleasing patterns, it's time to deepen your understanding of why self-esteem deficits occur. It's not a phenomenon that happens overnight. Rather, it is a slow and progressive process that often begins in childhood. You may have grown up in an environment where your needs, feelings, or opinions were neither acknowledged nor valued. Such an upbringing can instill the belief that you don't deserve to be defended, leading to an erosion of self-esteem. A relationship or job that diminishes your worth can also contribute to it. Constant criticism, lack of recognition, or not being valued can make you feel like you don't deserve respect. You may begin to settle for less than you deserve, devaluing yourself in the process. Another common cause is social pressure. Society often instills the idea that prioritizing your own needs and asserting your boundaries is selfish. You're taught to be accommodating, to avoid conflict, to be nice. Over time, this can lead to feeling guilty for standing up for yourself, which further lowers your self-esteem. Understanding self-esteem deficits isn't about placing blame, it's about recognizing how past experiences and social norms have influenced your self-perception. It's about recognizing that you've been conditioned to put others' needs ahead of your own, often at the expense of your own well-being. Chapter 3, The Cost of Constantly Apologizing. In the whirlwind of people-pleasing, you may find yourself apologizing constantly, even when it's not justified. This behavior can be attributed to a lack of self-respect, which leads you to believe that you must always be at fault. However, it's important to understand that constantly apologizing comes with its own costs, both emotional as well as social. When you over-apologize, it's as if you're giving away pieces of your self-esteem, creating an emptiness within you. This void often leads to feelings of worthlessness and a distorted self-image. Basically, you're telling yourself that you're always wrong, and this self-critical attitude can have serious consequences for your mental health. From a social perspective, constantly apologizing can also be harmful. It's not uncommon for people to lose respect for those who apologize too much. After all, if you don't respect yourself enough to stand your ground when you're not at fault, why should others respect you? Additionally, your apologies lose their sincerity when used too frequently, which diminishes their value in the eyes of others. But remember, it's never too late to change this pattern. You can start by recognizing your worth and understanding that it's okay to make mistakes without always having to apologize. It's part of being human. Chapter 4, Setting Boundaries with Love. To navigate through life, it's essential to have firm control. And to set clear and healthy boundaries with love and respect. It's not about being harsh or unapproachable, but about understanding and respecting your own needs while also communicating them to others in a respectful way. Remember that setting boundaries is not a matter of selfishness, but of self-preservation. Think of it this way: you are the captain of your ship, and you have the right to decide who comes aboard and how they must behave. It's not about excluding people or being overly defensive, but about maintaining a healthy environment that respects your values and your well-being. Start by recognizing what your boundaries are, what makes you feel uncomfortable, what drains you emotionally or mentally. Once you've identified these areas, it's time to express them clearly. Use first-person statements to express your feelings, such as, "I feel uncomfortable when," or "I need space to." This approach is less confrontational and makes it more likely that the other person will understand and respect your needs. Remember that it's okay to say no. It's okay not to always be available. It's okay to prioritize your mental health, and anyone who truly cares about you will respect those boundaries. Be firm but kind. Be assertive yet loving. It's a delicate balance, but with practice and determination, you will master the art of setting boundaries with love. The path to self-respect begins with accepting your individuality and recognizing your worth. So don't hesitate to draw that line when needed. You are worth it. Chapter 5. Prioritizing your emotional needs. Your emotional needs are not optional elements in your life, they are essential components of your overall well-being. They are just as vital as your physical needs, like food, water, and sleep. You may have been told otherwise, or maybe you've even told yourself that your wants, feelings, and emotions are secondary. But that's not the case. You should never set aside your emotional needs, because when they are neglected, they can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depression. Now then, prioritizing your emotional needs doesn't mean being selfish or ignoring others. It's about understanding your feelings and their causes, and then addressing those needs in a healthy and constructive way. You have to be aware of your emotions, acknowledge them, and give them the attention they deserve. It's not about always putting yourself first, but about not always putting yourself last. Give yourself permission to care for your emotional well-being, whether that means taking time for self-care, saying no when you need to, or seeking professional help. When things get tough, it's all part of respecting and honoring your emotional needs. You're not being weak or overly sensitive, you're simply being human. Chapter 6. Stop explaining, start asserting. While respecting your emotional needs can give you the strength to stand your ground, it's equally important to assert yourself without feeling the constant need to explain your actions or choices. Remember, you are not obligated to justify every decision you make. It's your life, and you know what's best for you. To be assertive, you must start by believing in your worth. Understand that you don't need everyone's approval to validate your actions. It's okay not to meet everyone's expectations. You're not someone who seeks to please others, you are a person who respects yourself. But don't confuse assertiveness with aggressiveness. Assertiveness is about expressing your thoughts and feelings openly and respectfully, not steamrolling others. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you feel the need to explain, ask yourself, am I explaining because I want to, or because I feel like I have to? If it's the latter, resist the urge. Replace explanations with statements of fact. Instead of saying, I can't come to your party because I have too much work, say, I won't be able to attend your party. Period. You don't need to explain further. Chapter 7. Overcoming the fear of rejection. Often, the fear of rejection can prevent you from asserting yourself and standing up for your needs. This fear runs deep. Rooted in our psyche, it can be debilitating and make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You're afraid to say no. You're afraid to stand your ground because the idea of someone disliking you or getting upset with you scares you. However, understand that it's okay to prioritize your own needs and desires. Now let's explore methods to overcome this fear. First, you need to recognize and accept your fear of rejection. It's absolutely okay to be afraid, we all feel that way at some point. But remember, it's not insurmountable. It's just an emotion, a feeling. Not your destiny. Second, practice self-compassion. When you're kind to yourself, you're less likely to feel devastated by others' disapproval. Understand that we all make mistakes, and it's okay to be imperfect, it's part of being human. Third, gradually expose yourself to situations where rejection is a possibility. Start small, ask for a favor, express an unpopular opinion, or disagree with someone. With each small victory, your confidence will grow, and your fear of rejection will begin to fade. Overcoming the fear of rejection is a journey, not a race. It takes time, patience, and self-love. But remember, every step you take to overcome this fear is a step toward self-respect, a step toward a life where you're not constantly being soft with others at your own expense. Chapter 8. embracing healthy selfishness in the pursuit of self-respect, adopting a certain level of healthy selfishness can be transformative. It's important to remember that being selfish in this context doesn't mean ignoring others' feelings, it means prioritizing yourself, your needs, and your well-being. You might be thinking, isn't that being self-centered? Not necessarily. Healthy selfishness is about setting boundaries, knowing your worth, and not compromising your values for the sake of others. It's a vital component of self-respect, because if you can't respect your own needs and limits, how can you expect others to? Don't be afraid to say no. If you're always saying yes to please others or avoid conflict, you're not being true to yourself. You're sacrificing your own needs, desires, and values for the sake of others. That's not healthy. It's okay to say no when something doesn't align with your personal values or if it's harmful to your well-being. Practice self-care. This is a key aspect of healthy selfishness. You can't serve from an empty cup, so it's necessary to take care of your physical, emotional, and mental health. This can include activities like exercising, meditating, or simply taking time to relax and do something you enjoy. Healthy selfishness is about recognizing your worth and respecting yourself enough to prioritize your own needs and well-being. It's not about being self-centered or disregarding others. It's about balance and respect, for yourself and for others. Embrace it, and watch your self-esteem flourish. Chapter 9, Cultivating Belief in Your Own Progress. Beyond embracing healthy selfishness, cultivating belief in your own progress is an integral part of building self-respect. You might wonder, what does progress have to do with self-respect? Well, it's simple. When you believe in your ability to grow and develop, you begin to value yourself more. You see your potential, and you respect it. It's essential to understand that progress isn't about perfection, it's about improvement, no matter how small. It's about making sure that today's version of yourself is better than yesterday's. So don't be hard on yourself if you don't see drastic changes overnight. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. Start by setting achievable goals. They don't have to be grand. Small victories can boost your confidence. Then, reflect on your successes. Celebrate your wins. Learn from your failures. And don't let setbacks discourage your spirit. However, believing in progress isn't enough, you must act accordingly. You need to make conscious efforts to grow, learn, and improve. Don't become complacent. Complacency is the thief of progress. You must keep striving. It's not about impressing others, but about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought possible. Chapter 10, Learning to Say No. Politely saying no can be a tough task, but it's a fundamental part of self-respect. You need to understand that you are not obligated to please everyone or meet every demand. It's essential to prioritize your time, energy, and personal boundaries. Now, this doesn't mean you should become a no machine. It means learning to decline requests that don't serve you. Reframe your perspective. About saying no, it's a good starting point. We often associate rejection with negative emotions or a fear of disappointing others. But think of it this way, when we say no to something we don't want, we're actually saying yes to something we value more. It could be our time, our mental health, or even a more fulfilling commitment. Now then, how do we say no politely? It all depends on how we say it. First, express gratitude for the request or invitation. Expressing gratitude shows that we respect the other person's time and effort. Next, be clear and direct in your refusal, don't beat around the bush or give false hope. Remember, clarity is kindness. Lastly, if possible, offer an alternative solution. This could be suggesting a different time, a different person, or another method to fulfill the request. Chapter 11, Effective Communication Strategies. Before mastering the art of self-respect, it's essential to understand the importance of effective communication strategies. Your words and actions serve as a mirror that reflects your inner thoughts and beliefs. Communication is more than just speaking, it's about clearly and assertively expressing your needs, desires, and boundaries. Remember, it's not just what you say, but how you say it. Your tone, body language, and facial expressions play a major role in delivering your message. For example, if you constantly apologize or speak in a soft voice, you may be giving the impression that you're unsure. Be mindful of these nonverbal cues, as they can undermine your message and your self-esteem. In addition, active listening is an integral part of effective communication. When you listen attentively, you're not only showing respect for the other person's point of view, but also standing up for your own. Responding with thoughtfulness shows that you value your thoughts and feelings just as much as those of others. Remember, consistency is key. If your words contradict your actions, it creates confusion and undermines your credibility. Make sure your behavior aligns with your words. This consistency in communication strengthens your self-esteem, as it shows that you value both your words and your actions. Lastly, don't be afraid to express your thoughts and emotions. It's okay to disagree or express dissatisfaction, doing so doesn't make you rude or aggressive. It shows that you respect yourself enough to express your feelings. In essence, effective communication strategies can help you uphold your self-respect. Is about balance, understanding, and assertiveness. Chapter 12, Developing Self-Confidence. Developing self-confidence is an essential step in cementing self-respect. Self-confidence is like the foundation of a house. If it's unstable, the structure built on top won't stand. You have to believe in your abilities, and that starts with recognizing your worth. You are not just an extra in someone else's play. You are the main character in your own story. Confidence isn't just about feeling good in front of others, it's about feeling good with yourself. Acknowledge your strengths and don't shy away from them. You are unique, with skills and talents that are uniquely yours. Don't downplay your abilities or let others diminish them. Stand up for yourself and give yourself the credit you deserve. But remember, no one is perfect. We all have our weaknesses, and it's okay to acknowledge them. In fact, recognizing your weaknesses won't weaken your self-confidence, it will strengthen it. It shows that you are self-aware, and that's a trait of a truly confident person. Practice makes perfect. Confidence is like a muscle, the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Chapter 13, How to Deal with Difficult People. While it's true that you can't choose the people who cross your path, you can choose how to respond to them. Difficult people are part of life, and they are often a test of your self-esteem. It's not about being harsh or rude, it's about setting boundaries. You see, when you're kind to everyone, you often leave room for others to cross the line. Responding to difficult people requires a strategy. You can't let their negativity affect your emotions or your self-worth. They may criticize, manipulate, or belittle you. Remember that their behavior says more about them than it does about you. Distance yourself from their negativity, focus on your response, not their actions. Communicating your feelings is essential. You may think it's easier to stay silent to avoid conflict, but it's imperative that you express your concerns with respect. You're not arguing, you're expressing your feelings and setting boundaries. This approach demonstrates your self-respect and discourages further disrespect. Finally, understand that you can't change everyone. Some people may never respect your boundaries, no matter what you do. In those cases, the best option is to limit your interaction with them. It's not about being defensive, it's about preserving your peace and your self-esteem. Dealing with difficult people is a challenge, but it's part of personal growth. By standing up for yourself, you are nurturing your self-esteem. Don't be afraid to demand the respect you deserve. After all, you are worth it. Chapter 14. The power of nonverbal cues. Unspoken language often says more than words. It's that silent communication that reveals your true feelings and thoughts, even when your words might be saying something else. When you're constantly trying to please others, often at the expense of your own needs, your body language may show your discomfort, even if your words don't. Nonverbal cues such as facial expressions, body posture, and gestures are incredibly revealing. They can expose your true feelings before you even have the chance to speak. For example, if you constantly say yes when you actually want to say no, your tense body posture might give you away. This is where self-respect comes into play. It's not just about what you say, it's also about what you don't say. You have to respect your feelings and needs, and that means not being soft with everyone all the time. If you feel uncomfortable, let your body language show it. You don't always have to be the agreeable, accommodating person. Remember, it's not about being rude or disrespectful to others, it's about respecting yourself. And part of that self-respect involves being genuine in your nonverbal communication. So stand tall, maintain eye contact, and let your body language speak your truth. By doing so, you'll not only feel more confident in yourself, but also, you'll earn more respect from those around you. In essence, harnessing the power of nonverbal cues is a crucial step in asserting your self-respect. It's time to stop being soft with everyone and start standing up for yourself, isn't it? Chapter 15. Self-care for self-respect. Practicing self-care is a fundamental pillar of self-respect. It's not about being selfish or ignoring others, it's about understanding your own needs and recognizing that you are just as deserving of care and respect as anyone else. It's essential to evaluate your daily routines. Are you eating well, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep? Your physical health is directly linked to your mental well-being, and neglecting it can lead to a lack of self-respect. Remember, it's not about achieving a superficial ideal, it's about becoming the healthiest version of yourself. Taking care of yourself also means setting boundaries. You can't be everything to everyone, and it's not your job to solve everyone else's problems. Learn to say no when necessary, and protect your time and energy. It's not always easy, but it's vital for maintaining self-respect. Lastly, prioritize self-reflection. Understand your strengths and weaknesses, identify your values, and strive to stay true to them. It's not about being perfect, it's about being authentically yourself. When you respect yourself, others will follow your lead. Self-care for self-respect is not a destination, it's a journey. It requires patience, effort, and above all, compassion toward yourself. Building on self-care, another key aspect of self-respect is learning to let go of the need for approval. You need to understand that we do not exist to live up to others' expectations. It's not about being defiant, it's about recognizing your worth beyond others' approval. This journey begins with internal introspection. Why do you seek approval? Is it fear of rejection? Or a habit developed over time? Identifying the root cause is the first step. Next, you have to question these reasons. Let's say you're afraid of rejection. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, you'll find that the fear isn't rooted in reality, but in self-imposed limitations. Constantly seeking approval can be exhausting. It's an endless cycle of trying to please others, often at the expense of your own happiness. You must learn to break that cycle. Start small. Make a decision based on your preferences, not someone else's. It can be something as simple as choosing a restaurant or a movie. Little by little, you'll build confidence in your choices and reduce your dependence on others' approval. Chapter 16. Cultivating emotional intelligence. You've already taken on the challenge of letting go of the need for approval, now it's time to cultivate your emotional intelligence. This concept, though often overlooked, is vital to establishing self-respect. It's about recognizing and understanding your emotions, as well as those of others, which, in turn, influences your actions and responses. Emotionally intelligent people don't suppress their feelings. They acknowledge them. No matter how uncomfortable they may be. They understand that emotions, even the negative ones, are part of the human experience. You too can harness this awareness. Recognize your emotions, but don't let them control you. Seek balance between your heart and your mind, allowing your feelings to inform, not dictate, your decisions. Empathy is another key aspect of emotional intelligence. Understanding the feelings of others can guide your interactions, fostering respect for their experiences and perspectives. This doesn't mean compromising your self-esteem. Rather, empathy allows you to hold your ground while valuing different points of view. Finally, emotional intelligence involves effective communication. This means actively listening, clearly expressing your feelings, and offering constructive feedback. These skills not only improve relationships, but also strengthen your self-respect, affirming your own feelings and needs, without undermining those of others. Cultivating emotional intelligence is a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process that requires patience and practice. As you move forward, you'll notice a shift in how you perceive yourself and in how you interact with others. You'll learn to respect yourself more, laying the foundation for healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Chapter 18: How to free yourself from feelings of guilt. Holding on to guilt can become an exhausting and counterproductive habit, as if you're constantly scolding yourself. Constantly, even for minor mistakes or oversights. It's essential to understand that this is not a sign of humility or self-awareness, but rather a harmful pattern that can damage your self-respect. The guilt you feel may seem like an indicator of responsibility or consideration, but it's often just a reflection of internalized, unrealistic expectations. You're not a superhero. You're not expected to be perfect. And it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are part of the growth process, they're how you learn and improve. It's important to distinguish between healthy guilt and unhealthy guilt. Healthy guilt is a natural response when you've done something wrong. It leads to self-reflection and corrective actions. Unhealthy guilt, however, is often disproportionate to the issue at hand, leading to unnecessary self-punishment and self-doubt. To free yourself from guilt, you must begin by acknowledging your feelings without judging them. It's okay to feel guilty, but don't let it consume you. Instead, use it as a tool to grow. Analyze your feelings, understand why you feel guilty, and then take steps to make things right. If you've hurt someone, apologize and make amends. If you've made a mistake, learn from it and move on. Chapter 19: Healthy Relationships. Establishing healthy relationships is a cornerstone of self-respect. It's essential to surround yourself with people who value you as much as you value yourself. Healthy relationships are not only based on mutual respect but also on understanding, empathy, and open communication. Recognize that it's okay to choose who you want in your life. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is not just acceptable, it's necessary. We are not obligated to maintain relationships that do not support our well-being. We must understand that self-respect is non-negotiable. Start by evaluating your relationships. Are they balanced? Does the other person respect your thoughts, feelings, and boundaries? If not, it's time to address that. It's not about creating conflict, but about fostering respect. Remember that relationships healthy are reciprocal, there must be both giving and receiving. If you're always the one giving and never receiving, that's a red flag. It's not selfish to expect respect and understanding in return for what you offer. Lastly, realize that it's okay to walk away from toxic relationships. You may feel guilty, but remember, your self-esteem is paramount. You deserve relationships that enrich your life, not ones that drain it. Establishing healthy relationships is a process. It can be difficult, but it's worth it, because when you respect yourself, others will too. Cultivate relationships that reflect your self-worth, and you'll see a significant boost in your self-esteem. Lastly, be patient with yourself. Personal growth is a journey, not a race. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Remember that every step you take toward daily self-compassion is a step toward a stronger, more respectful relationship with yourself. Because ultimately, self-respect begins with how you treat yourself, not how others treat you. Chapter 20. Standing up for yourself with assertiveness while fostering healthy relationships is a fundamental part of self-respect. There's another important aspect that deserves your attention: standing up for yourself with assertiveness. This isn't about being aggressive or needlessly confrontational, it's about expressing your feelings and needs in a respectful, clear, and confident way. Self-respect means recognizing your worth and making sure others do too. The same. You see, when you constantly give in to others, you're indirectly communicating that your needs, opinions, and feelings are less important. This can lead to feelings of resentment or powerlessness. That's where assertiveness comes in. It's the middle ground between passivity and aggression, striking a balance that respects both yourself and the other person. Being assertive is more than just saying what you think. It's about being honest with yourself and with others, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about setting boundaries and honoring them. It's about saying no when necessary, without feeling guilty. It's about respecting your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. Remember, assertiveness isn't a natural trait for everyone, it's a skill that can be learned and refined over time. Start small. Practice saying no to minor requests, express your feelings openly, and gradually expand to more significant matters. In the end, standing up for yourself with confidence is a fundamental part of self-respect. It's about recognizing your worth and making sure you're treated with the dignity, respect, and consideration you deserve. On this journey toward self-respect, you're not just important, you are essential. Chapter 21. Becoming more decisive and direct. Navigating the maze of decision-making can feel intimidating, but it's a crucial skill for cultivating self-respect. You may find it difficult to be assertive or to clearly express your wants and opinions. But remember, every decision you make helps define who you are. Don't shy away from this responsibility, embrace it. It's important to understand that being decisive doesn't mean being harsh or blunt. It simply means expressing your thoughts and desires without hesitation or ambiguity. The key is to be direct in a respectful way. Start by identifying your values and beliefs. They'll serve as your compass when making decisions. When you know what matters to you, it becomes easier to be decisive. You'll know what aligns with your principles and what doesn't. Be open to feedback, but don't let others' opinions control your decisions. Ground, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's okay to disagree. You're not obligated to conform to everyone's expectations. Also, pay attention to your communication, use clear and concise language. Don't beat around the bush. People appreciate transparency, and it saves everyone time. Lastly, practice makes perfect. Start with small decisions. Each success will build your confidence and help you handle bigger decisions with ease. Becoming more decisive and direct is a journey, not a destination. It's a process of discovery and growth. So be patient with yourself. You're learning, and that, in itself, is a victory. This new decisiveness won't just earn you the respect of others, more importantly, it will nurture your self-respect. Chapter 22, Managing Anxiety in Conflict Situations. In the midst of conflict, it's vital to remain calm, because it's our anchor in the storm. This doesn't mean running away from opposition, but rather facing it with courage and understanding. It's a difficult task, but with practice, we become skilled at managing anxiety in these situations, strengthening our self-respect. In the chaos of conflict, it's easy to feel like our anxiety levels skyrocket, as if we're caught in a storm, with pouring rain and thunder rumbling all around, lacking any sense of direction. But here's the thing, the storm isn't the conflict itself, it's your response to it. Think of your anxiety as a barometer. It rises and falls not with the conflict itself, but with your perception of it. Therefore, your first step is not to fight the conflict, but to manage your perception of it. Don't let the outer storm create an inner one. The calm in the storm comes from acknowledging your feelings, but not letting them control you. It's about realizing that you can't control the storm, but you can control your reaction to it. It's about anchoring yourself in the present moment. Present. Focus on your breathing and remind yourself of your worth. The challenge of facing opposition can be intimidating, especially when it triggers feelings of anxiety. It's understandable to want to avoid conflict, but doing so can leave you feeling taken advantage of. Here's the truth, opposition isn't always a bad thing. It often presents an opportunity for growth, self-awareness, and deeper understanding. Analyze why conflict causes you anxiety. Is it the fear of being disliked, misunderstood, or the possibility of a negative outcome? Knowing your triggers can help you manage your reactions more effectively. Next, try to see the situation from the other person's perspective. This empathy can lower your anxiety, as you'll realize that opposition isn't always personal, it's often just a difference in perspectives. Remember, it's okay to stand up for yourself. You have the right to set boundaries, and your self-worth doesn't depend on pleasing others. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being assertive. Hold your ground, but be open to dialogue. Chapter 23, Embrace Your Authentic Self. Embracing your authentic self is a journey of unapologetic self-expression, of owning your decisions, fully accepting your imperfections, and developing unwavering self-acceptance. It's about showing up as who you truly are, not who you think others want you to be. This process is not only liberating, but also a vital step in cultivating genuine self-respect. Although it may feel intimidating at first, unapologetic self-expression is crucial to earning self-respect. It means being true to who you are and expressing your thoughts, feelings, and opinions without fear of judgment or rejection. By doing so, you're not only validating your own existence. You're affirming your right to be heard and respected. You might worry that others will see you as different or confrontational. But remember, your uniqueness is what makes you who you are. You don't need to conform to others' expectations to be accepted. Instead, embrace your individuality. It's in those moments of authenticity that you truly shine. At first, expressing yourself without shame might feel uncomfortable. After all, you're breaking away from social norms. But over time, you'll find it freeing. It builds self-confidence and strengthens your self-esteem.